Alright, welcome back to another episode, guys. This is a little bit different for you guys. We are giving you our tips and tricks on how to stay off-grid for longer. We get asked all the time, how the hell do you get more than 2 to 3 days out of your water system or whatever it is? We are going to show you, and we're going to give you all of our tips and tricks that we have learned over the last 2 years, because in the beginning we literally ran out of water within 3 days of going off-grid because we just hadn't learnt how to do it yet. But I'm going to show you how. We've got loads of water saving tips to show you. We've got loads of other tips and tricks to keep you off grid for longer as well. And we're also going to go over what we do in the regards of power as well. So stay tuned and let's get into it.
Whoa, hold up. If you haven't already, we would love for you to subscribe.
You pause the telly right now, get your camera out, and you can take a photo of the QR code, and it's going to take you straight to our YouTube channel where you can press that subscribe button. It really helps us out as a small little YouTube channel. And we always get asked, how can we help you out? That is the way to do it, and it's totally free. So let's go back to the episode. Alright, before we get into all of the tips and tricks, let's actually show you on our system what we've actually used for 3 days off grid so far. So you can see we've got it looks like we've got 2 tanks there. The one on the right there is actually 2 80-litre tanks combined, and the one on the left is 60 litres. So we technically still have 80 and 60 left, and we have used 80 so far for 3 nights. So we still have to have, myself and TJ have to have showers tonight, and we'll have to do 1 load of dishes. So I'd say let's just add another 10 litres on there for fun. So for 3 nights off grid, we have used 90 litres. So that's less than half of the water that we can actually carry. So we get a good week off grid using the tips and tricks we're about to show you. I'm going to show you all the inside ones first. So that's me. I'm going to show you all of them. So let's get into it. Firstly, your first tip is going to be what to do before you go off grid, right? If you are coming from a caravan park or a showgrounds or wherever, use all of their facilities before you come off grid. Do all of your laundry, have really good showers, wash your hair, shave all your bits, do all that before you come off grid, because we are trying to save water off grid. So use their facilities and do all your bits and bobs before you go off grid. Alright, this might be a completely new tip for you guys, and you might not have ever heard of this, but I do get asked a lot, well, how do I wash all my dishes if I'm trying to save loads of water, you know? And the really big thing that a lot of people do wrong is you're filling up your sink, you've got dirty dishes, you're washing them, obviously that water is dirty, then you have to rinse them. I have a different way that I have learned over the time. What I actually do is I wipe over every single thing that I use after we use it, whether it's a fork, a knife, a plate, a cup, and I'm pretty much left with clean plates and cutlery at the end of it. And of course, using baby wipes and paper towel. I mean, you know, it is what it is, but you know, at the end of the day, we're saving a lot of water. Yeah, that's the main objective when you are off grid. All I'm doing at the end of the day is I'm using about 2 to 3 centimeters of water in my sink, and I'm pretty much just giving them a little wash over because they're clean from my wiping, and then that's it. So all I'm using is 2 to 3 centimeters 1 time a day. I only do dishes 1 time a day, and that is it, right? So start getting used to doing things a little bit differently when you're off grid. As soon as you have finished, guys, using a plate or whatever, wipe it down. We don't want any of that hard, crusty stuff on there that you have to soak later on in the day. We don't want that. Get rid of that. All right, on the back end of that, how can I only do dishes once a day? You need to make sure you have enough stuff. We all have 2 knives each, 2 forks, we have 3 plates each, we have 2 bowls each. We have got enough stuff there to last us a whole day, so we're not having to wash things during the day. So make sure you have enough of each for each person, so you only have to do the dishes at the end of the day. Alright, next tip is the shower. This is where you're going to use a lot of water. I'm going to turn this on, and I don't use this first part of the water, but if you are really restricted, then I suggest catching this cold water here and using it for your dishes. Let's actually time how long it takes to get hot. Ready? I would not shower in this unless I was absolutely desperate. Alright, there you go. So I literally, oh actually no, that's cold. Okay, that didn't get hot. Ready? There you go. Okay, I literally, good 3 seconds, And you need to do this bit quite quick because, and I'm wearing my swimming costume, so this feels a bit weird. You need to do this bit quite quick because otherwise the water's going to go back to cold. It's going to need to be heated up again. So I'll have a proper shower after, guys. I'm just doing a little preview for you. All right, ready? Hopefully it's still hot. Okay. You've never seen a shower so quick, right? All right, that's me. What was that? 7 seconds? I don't know. It was quick, right? That is what you need to get used to save a lot of water off grid, to keep you off grid for longer. All right, next one. Do I do our laundry when we are off grid? No, I do not. There are ways around it. I have seen some people use ocean water or river water, and there are some detergents that don't bubble up too much, so that is a way around it. We just choose not to, and I'm going to go into reasons about how we don't have to do it when we're off grid too often. There are some tips we've learned along the way, and one of them is a really, really good one. If you are leaving your campsite and you're going to a different one, and on your way you're going to fill up water at a water point, you can just stop there while you're filling up. Do a load of washing. We have actually got a 20-minute cycle on ours, which is really, really good. Pull over for 20 minutes, do one cycle of washing, and then when you get to your next campsite, you can just hang it out. It's pretty easy, right? The other reason that we don't have to do our laundry too often is because we have got at least 2 weeks worth of clothes each. We are good for 2 weeks off grid. So if we want to stop when we're filling up at our water point and do a load of washing, amazing. But we are good for 2 weeks. So make sure you have enough clothes to last for those long journeys while you're off grid, so you don't have to leave and you've run out of clothes and they get dirty and all of that, because we do not want to leave these amazing spots that we're parked up at just because you've run out of clothes. Next one is to do with clothes again. If we are off grid and if we are clean and we're not too dirty, we will wear our clothes twice, right? Does that sound gross? I don't know, because before we went traveling, I don't think we ever would have thought of it. But you do some things while you're traveling that you might not do when you're back in a house and you've got endless supplies of water and whatnot. Of course, we do not wear undies twice. Come on, guys, get your head out of the gutter. So make sure you have enough undies on hand, because of course we don't want to wear those twice. But you know what, most of the time when you're off grid, you're relaxing, you're not doing much, so you can wear your clothes twice. Right, we all love a good sanger, right? But you can only keep so many loaves in your freezer. So I like to, of course, get a loaf of bread from the shops before we come off grid. And then my cupboard is full of wraps, because they stay in your cupboard for a very long time. And they are a great alternative. Our kids have come to loving wraps because we don't give them the choice once we've run out of bread. So always keep some wraps in your cupboard handy. Okay, this is a huge tip. You need to hide your soap and put it away so your kids cannot get it, or your husband. And you need to put out some sanitizer instead. This is a really huge water saving tip, and we have learned along the way that, yeah, your kids will wash their hands for a very long time to try and get that soap off. So get them used to using sanitizer. It's just a massive lifesaver for not using any water at all. Right, so this is another tip we have learned along the way that we weren't using at the start, and oh my gosh, is it a game changer, and we're pretty sure one of you guys told us about it. Instead of using the flush button on your toilet, which does use a lot of water, especially if you're trying to get that toilet paper down, you need one of these. This helps so much because you're hardly using any water at all, and you can pretty much aim to where you want it to go to get that toilet paper down. So get yourself one of these, because yeah, they're so much better that you can actually aim to where you want it to go without using a hell of a lot of water through your toilet. Another tip on the back end of the toilet one, we have heard this one, we've actually never used it just because we've got Freddie around. We've actually heard a lot of people that bag up their toilet roll. If they're just doing a quick wee, they've actually got a bag or a bin next to their toilet that they actually put that in and discard of that way, instead of putting it into the cassette, which will make your cassette last for way longer. This next tip, a lot of people normally are doing this anyway, whether you have an endless supply of water or not. It's to turn your water off when you are doing your teeth. Obviously, those 2 minutes can be a very long time to have your water running. So if you're still doing that, make sure you're turning off your tap while you're doing your teeth. And also just get your kids used to it as well. I know that kids just like, kids have got no worries, right? They don't care if the taps are running or not, so always keep an eye on your kids. So we often find if we haven't been off grid for a while, then we have to reteach our children to, you know, turn off the taps when you don't need to and be really quick. So it's just another thing we have to get our children used to. Okay, let's talk about food. So the first couple of days up to a week, we are wanting to eat all of our fresh produce. That way it doesn't go off and we're not wasting any food. Then after that, we want to be using all of our frozen food, canned food, long life milk. Say hi. You want some food? You want some? Okay. All right, there's a few other things we do with our food to make them last longer so that we're obviously not wasting anything or running out and having to leave our off-grid camp to go to the shops. One of them is with our fresh produce, especially with our lettuce and stuff like that. We actually put a bit of paper towel in there. That way it keeps it nice and crisp for as long as we need it for, which is really good. I feel like you get a few extra days out of doing this sort of thing. And anything that you open up, say we've got some bacon here that was in a big packet, we've actually put them into a little Ziploc bag, or we use a container, whatever we have available. So it all just keeps your food nice and fresh for as long as you can. It's not going to go disgusting and hard and yuck in the fridge. So when our fresh produce has run out, we have got canned veggies and canned fruit. We've got long life milk to have. So we've got loads of stuff to prolong our trip and to keep us off grid at our beautiful destinations for longer. That's what we want, right? We want to be able to stay at these places for longer, and fresh milk isn't going to last forever. And make sure you also do your research. Know how long you're going to stay off grid, know where the next shop is, so that you are pretty much meal prepping, because we don't want to run out, right? So you make sure that if you know that you're going off grid for 7 days, I would make sure you have at least 9 days worth of food, because we definitely don't know with kids, right? That one day they can eat nothing and the next day they are a hungry horse. See? What do you want? You want some food? There you go, that was handy. Some days they can eat a lot, some days they don't, and you just never know. So always have a little bit more than what you think you need. All right, so from the start of our trip, we were literally spending maybe 2 to 3 days off grid before we were running out of water. And now 2 years on, from using all of our tips and tricks that we now use, we're pretty much getting at least 7 days. Now, if we want to prolong that, we obviously need to bring some extra water with us, right? So we invested in some water bladders. There's loads of different ones you can get. You can get ones for your car if you want to. We just wanted to get a couple of extra smaller portable ones. We've got 2 20-litre ones, which actually gives us at least an extra day and a half off grid. And it just sits in the back of the car, which we really love. And that way we're able to stay off grid for a little bit longer.
Right, I am here. I am in this video. I got some tips as well. First one being our toilet cassette. We carry 2 toilet cassettes because we only usually get about 2, maybe 3, stretching it, out of 1 cassette. So the toilet cassette really is one of our limiting factors. Never pass a dump point without emptying it. Even if you've only got a little bit in there, especially with kids, God, they just fill it up. So go and pass a dump point, use the dump point. We'll come down here. Is something that I learnt off an old fella at a caravan park once. And it is to actually fill your water tanks up from the drain outlets. So this one here, I've got these ones. I've got 2 here, 2 tanks linked up to this one, 1 tank linked up to this one. I actually found when we travelled last time around Australia, I filled up my tanks from I'm so lost. The water fillers from the top. We're at Margaret River, and actually it had a water counter because you had to pay for water. So I filled the tanks up, and I found out that we were about 15 to 20 litres each tank short of what the capacity was. So I told someone about it, and they said, nah, open your top fillers up, put your hose on the bottom of your tank, fill them up from there. It pushes all the air out, and once it overflows, it's literally chock-a-block full. Definitely recommend doing that. And also, if you want to go a step further, which I've done, I've actually bought a water counter, water flow meter it's called, just from Bunnings. So you can actually see how much is going into your tanks. You might be fine filling yours up from the top. With that meter, you'll definitely know. But even with the meter, I'll still chuck it on these bottom ones just to push the air out of the tanks. Well, while we're on this side of the van, a quick one, what not to do. We've got a outside shower on this van. Don't use it off grid, nah. Try to limit your use, because I found it so good. It's actually really good, washing the kids' feet off, because we didn't have this, not comparing vans, but we didn't have this on the other van. And it's just so easy to wash the kids' feet off. We used a brush last time, a little dustpan brush near the door, brush your feet off. because it's so easy to use this and you'll use your water up. So yeah, outdoor shower, it's wicked, but limit the use. All right, another tip that we know that a lot of people do on the road is buying their drinking water. Yeah, it costs a little bit more money, but as you go around Australia, you'll find out some of the water you get, you probably don't want to be drinking. So buying your drinking water does add that little bit extra weight, but keeps you off grid longer. So another good tip. All right, so a lot of our off-grid stuff is about water-based because that's the stuff that all runs out food-based. I'll quickly cover power because everyone's different with their power setups. Switch your lights off when you're not using them. Starlink's a big one for us. If you don't need the internet on, turn it off. Keeps you off grid longer, especially when you have those overcast days. If you've got a solar inlet to run a blanket, grab a blanket or two. I run 2 blankets. We had on the last van, so I've got on this van. But power-wise, yeah, just make sure the battery capacity you have enough solar or some way of charging that. A lot of people go get these massive battery systems and they can't even recharge them if they've got one day of bad weather off grids. You could have a small battery system like us, 200 amp hours. Well, I think it's small, but with my blankets, I got nearly 1,000 watt of solar, so it recharges fast when the sun's out. So quick one, turn stuff off when you're not using it, and yeah, just live in the dark. But that was a quick skim over power because yeah, it's not hard power. Just don't leave things on when you're not using them. And yeah, obviously, if your weights allow it, you can run a generator. We've still got a generator. I think we used it like twice on our trip, but we used it 2 other times to kickstart our friends' batteries back into working order, their lithium batteries. So it's a good backup just in case. So we don't run our aircon off our generator, didn't find a need to, and it's only a King's 2 kilowatt kV generator. It does what you need it to, charges your batteries when you really need it to. Nothing fancy in our setup, so yeah, carry a generator if you can.
All right, so they are our tips and tricks. We've obviously been traveling Australia for 2 years now, and we're pretty much learning all the time.
We don't know everything.
Yeah, we don't know everything.
We're just giving you what we do and it might help you guys out, it might not, and you've probably got better tips than us.
If you do have some other tips and tricks, put them in the comments below. We're all about helping each other out, so let's share our tips and tricks of each other, and yeah, let's stay off grid for longer, right?
Yeah, all right, guys.
See you in the next one. Bye.